everybody, it's me, Timmy Flyersguy, and welcome to another edition of the Flyersguys Top 10. In my last episode, I talked about the top 10 worst things about 2020's Flyers hockey. I was going to do the best things about 2020 Flyers hockey. But there's only one good thing about that year, and that was the 2020 playoffs. They were exciting despite the way the presentation was for the games. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the top 10. I'm going to be discussing the top 10 best parts of past Flyer seasons. Starting with the 2004 playoff run at number 10. In 2004, the Philadelphia Flyers made the playoffs that year. The guys they had on their team were Jeremy Roenick, Keith Primo, Simon Gagne, Robert Esch, defenseman Yoni Pickerman, and also new to the team that year, Alexei Zhamnov, and of course you cannot forget Jeremy Roenick, number 97. And also, let's not forget about Alan Clare and Mark Recchi. They were getting older, but they were still playing some damn good hockey in 2004. The standouts that year in the 2004 playoffs were Simon Gagne, Keith Primo, and Mark Recchi. In the playoffs, the Flyers defeated the Devils in 4 games, defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs in 6 games, but came up short against Tampa Bay Lightning team, coached by John Tortorella. Despite having a good showing in the Eastern Conference Finals, in Game 6, it was Simon Gagne got the overtime goal, forcing a Game 7 back in Tampa. Unfortunately, the Flyers were bested by Tampa Bay in 7 games, but the Flyers gave it all they had in that series. And that was a good moment that I really enjoyed. So, at number 10, the 2004 playoff run. And now we get into my number 9 pick on this countdown. At number 9, number 9 pick on this countdown. Number 9 pick on this countdown would have to be Mike Richards and Jeff Carter. Yes, I know I'm putting them at a lower tier. I apologize for that. But there's a lot of other moments that are in higher tiers than this one. No disrespect to Jeff Carter and Mike Richards, 2 of the best players in the NHL, hands down. But I got so many picks to go, I gotta be fair to the other ones. So number 9, Mike Richards and Jeff Carter. The reason why. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Mike Richards. In the 2004 AHL playoffs, Mike Richards and Jeff Carter made their debut. But not their official debut, as this was only a tryout season Mike Richards and Jeff Carter, who were drafted the year before. After this, Mike Richards and Jeff Carter made their debuts late in the 2004 2005. They made their debuts. So, okay. Jeff Carter and Mike Richards made their official debuts late in the 2004-2005 Philadelphia Phantom season. In the playoffs, they had a pretty good showing that year. And both Mike Richards and Jeff Carter were part of the 2005 Calder Cup championship team, as the Phantoms captured the Calder Cup that year. After that, Mike Richards and Jeff Carter made their official debut as Philadelphia Flyers in the 2005-2006 season. The post-lockout season, where everything changed. Equipment was smaller, rules were changed, and shootouts were implemented in tie games. That year, Jeff Carter really shined that year. Mike Richards was still trying to find his way as a Philadelphia Flyer, but he had a good showing that year. And in that year, the Flyers had a pretty decent season, despite being eliminated by the Buffalo Sabres in the first round of the 2006 Eastern Conference quarterfinals. Years later, Flyers had pretty much the worst season in 06-07. Mike Richards and Jeff Carter were the bright spots of that season. In 2007-2008, Mike Richards and Jeff Carter became a threat, short-handed, as they were a penalty-killing weapon for the Philadelphia Flyers. Not only that, they were pretty damn good scoring even strength goals as well. Years later, in 2008, 2009, Jeff Carter and Mike Richards had another great season. And then 2009-2010, Mike Richards and Jeff Carter, two of the best players on that team, having a good showing that season, and a good showing in the 2010 playoff run, where Mike Richards and Jeff Carter were pretty much one factor for the Philadelphia Flyers going forward. Mike Richards and Jeff Carter would have their final season with the Philadelphia Flyers in 2010-2011. After that season, they were officially traded. Jeff Carter was traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for Jacob Voracek. And Mike Richards was traded to the LA Kings in exchange for Wayne Simmons. Later that season, Jeff Carter was traded to the LA Kings. Where him and Mike Richards captured their first Stanley Cups as LA Kings. So Mike Richards and Jeff Carter were two of the bright spots for this team during those years. And now we're going into our number 8 pick on this countdown. And at number 8, At number 8. At number 8, Flyers Penguins from the 2012 Stanley Cup Playoffs, Eastern Conference Quarterfinals. That year, the Flyers officially made the playoffs, the 2012 Stanley Cup Playoffs. The first opponent would be the Pittsburgh Penguins. Let's rewind a bit. Late in the season, in the second half, the Flyers had a match with the Pittsburgh Penguins in Pittsburgh. Flyers were really beating the Penguins up in that game, as the Flyers were set to get a victory over the Penguins. Before the game would end, Derek Engelland laid a devastating hit on Danny Briere. After that hit, all hell broke loose, as the whole entire bench cleared out and we were set for an exciting 2012 playoff series. The Penguins got to win in the last game of the season. We will be setting up for a confrontation between two Pennsylvania rivals, the Philadelphia Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. In Game 1, Flyers were down, but they managed to tie it up. It's forcing it overtime, where Jake Voracek got the overtime game winner against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Flyers were down in the second game as well, but came back in convincing fashion to defeat the Penguins in Game 2. In Game 3, it was a Donnybrook. There was all kinds of confrontations going on that ice in Game 3. It was the Philadelphia Flyers who were on top, defeating the Penguins in Game 3. In Game 4, the Penguins defeated the Philadelphia Flyers 10-3. Forcing a Game 5, which would lead to a Game 5 back in Pittsburgh, where the Flyers will lose that game. Pittsburgh put again in the series, narrowing the lead to 3-2. But in Game 6, it was Claude Giroux, one of the best shifts in his entire career, as he laid a big hit on Sidney Crosby. A couple minutes later after the hit, Claude Giroux scored the goal. Setting the tone for the Philadelphia Flyers as they would defeat the Penguins in 6 games, eliminating the Penguins from the playoffs. The Penguins wouldn't get their payback on the Philadelphia Flyers until the 2018 Eastern Conference Quarterfinals. But that series between the Penguins and the Philadelphia Flyers had to be one of the best series in playoff history right there. And that's my number 8 pick on this countdown. And now we get into our number 7 pick on this countdown. And at number 7, the turnaround for the Philadelphia Flyers. The big turnaround for the Philadelphia Flyers in the 2013-2014 season. That year in the preseason, the Flyers can muster up one victory that year. That year, the Flyers signed Vincent LeCavalier to the Philadelphia Flyers, and also re-signing goaltender Ray Ember as he made his return to the Philadelphia Flyers. Not only that, Steve Mason had a lot to prove that season. In the first half of the season, around October, the Flyers, they had their troubles from October to November. But in one game in particular, a game against the Capitals, in which the Flyers were absolutely outplayed and outmatched by the Capitals, and the Flyers were defeated handily. But before the Flyers would go down to defeat, Ray Emery stepped up for the Flyers as him and Braden Holtby went at it. Not only that, three fights happened in that third period. And this would set a tone for the Philadelphia Flyers going forward. Many fans would say that Ray Emery dropping the gloves to Braden Holtby was the one moment that woke the team up. Shortly after this, Flyers went into December, and they got a huge victory, huge from behind victory over the Columbus Blue Jackets, as Claude Giroux, with not much time left in the first period, scored the goal to seal victory for the Philadelphia Flyers. During the holiday break, the Philadelphia Flyers, before the New Year started, went on a tear, defeating the Edmonton Oilers in the shootout, then defeating the Calgary Flames, and then beating the Vancouver Canucks in the shootout. Flyers' season was turning around. In February, they were winning games. In March, they were doing really good. Around late in the season, the Flyers got a point off of the Tampa Bay Lightning and got 2 points off the Florida Panthers. As the Flyers would go into the finals, their opponent would be the Rangers. Although this was one of the most exciting seasons, in my opinion, it went to game. The series went to 7 games. Flyers were eliminated, but you cannot forget how the Flyers played that season, coming back and turning things around to make the playoffs. That was a good sign for this team. And that was my number 7 pick on this countdown. And at number 6, the 10-game unbeaten streak in the 2016-2017 Flyers season. A series that would last until before Christmas, where the Flyers really went on a tear. One of the most memorable games was a game against the Philadelphia Flyers. They would take on Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. The Flyers fought hard and skated away with a 6-5 victory, a 6-4 victory over the Edmonton Oilers. Flyers were not done yet, so we get an overtime win. We get a huge win over the Dallas Stars, and an overtime victory over the Detroit Red Wings. The only bright spot of the 2016-2017 season. So number 6, the 10-game unbeaten streak from the 2016-2017 season. And now we get into our number 5 picks on this countdown. And at number 5, Eric Lindros, and the Legion of Doom. In the 90s, there was some controversy around Eric Lindros. In the 1991 NHL Draft, the Quebec Nordiques selected Eric Lindros in the draft. During that time, the Flyers drafted a young Swedish player named Peter Forsberg. And here's the kicker right here. Eric Lindros would not sign with the Quebec Nordiques. This would last until 1992, where Eric Lindros would sign with the Philadelphia Flyers. During this time, the Flyers traded away their draft pick, Peter Forsberg, and Steve Duchesne, in exchange for Eric Lindros. Not only that, the Philadelphia Flyers traded goaltender Ron Hextall to the Quebec Nordiques as well, in exchange for Lindros. In Lindros' first rookie season, he had one of the best rookie seasons in 1992, 1993. During that time, the Flyers had Mark Recchi. Going into the 93-94 season, the Philadelphia Flyers did not make the playoffs that year, but Eric Lindros continued to shine in his second season. Philadelphia Flyers made a huge trade in the 1994-1995 season, which saw John LeClaire come to the Philadelphia Flyers. And the Flyers also added Michael Renberg as well. In that year, that's when the Legion of Doom was created. A line that struck fear in their opponents. The Legion of Doom played some pretty damn good hockey. And their leader, Eric Lindros, played some damn good hockey as well. In 96, 97, the Philadelphia Flyers and the Legion of Doom finally made the playoffs, defeating the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round, then defeating the Buffalo Sabres in the second round, and then beating the New York Rangers to capture the 1997 Eastern Conference Championship. The Flyers were 9-1 to face the Red Wings, which was one of the most heartbreaking series for the Philadelphia Flyers. 97-98, Eric Lindros suffered his first concussion as Darius Kasparaitis delivered a devastating hit on Eric Lindros. 1999, 2000, 98-99, Eric Lindros' injuries continued to pile up. And in 1999, 2000, it would be Eric Lindros' last season. In the game against the Devils, in the Eastern Conference semifinal, in the Eastern Conference Finals, Eric Lindros was dealt a devastating blow as Scott Stevens nailed Eric Lindros, taking Lindros out of the game. Years later, Eric Lindros decided not to sign with the Philadelphia Flyers. And then in 2001, 2002, Eric Lindros officially became a New York Ranger. And years after that, he played for Toronto briefly. And then he would play his last final season with the Dallas Stars in 2006, 2007. Miracle Joseph's career was a damn good career, putting up points, putting up devastating hits on opponents, and giving Philadelphia one hell of a show. At number 4, we have to go back to the 1980s Philadelphia Flyers. In 1980, 1979, 1980, the Philadelphia Flyers had an impressive, unbeaten streak, one of the best streaks in the NHL. The streak could be ended at the hands of the Minnesota North Stars. So the Flyers made the playoffs that year, making it all the way to the 1980 Stanley Cup Finals. Their opponent would be the New York Islanders. Even though the Flyers had a good showing in that series, one call in a crucial game against the Islanders led to the Flyers being eliminated. An offsides call that was missed led to the Islanders capturing the Stanley Cup in 1980. But that season was one of the best seasons the Philadelphia Flyers had. Fast forward to the 1985, when the Philadelphia Flyers had an impressive Swedish rookie goaltender by the name of Pelle Lindbergh. That year, the Philadelphia Flyers made the Stanley Cup Finals against the Edmonton Oilers. Although the Flyers, the first game of that series, it would be Edmonton that would capture the Stanley Cup in 1985. In 1987, a young rookie goaltender named Ron Hextall was a huge reason the Flyers made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals in 1987 when they faced off against the Edmonton Oilers. In that game, Flyers had a good showing. Although their lineup was depleted by injuries, the Philadelphia Flyers had a very good showing in that series. Unfortunately, it was the Edmonton Oilers who captured another Stanley Cup. It would be Ron Hextall that would capture the Vezina Trophy for best goaltender in that series. It was Wayne Gretzky that said, Ron Hextall was one of the best goalies I ever played against. And that is my number 4 pick on this countdown. The 1980s Philadelphia Flyers. Now we go into my number 3 pick on this countdown. And number 3 on this countdown. Okay, number 3. My number 3 pick on this countdown. And at number 3. I'll talk about this. At number 3, Wayne Simmons. No doubt about it. Wayne Simmons was a fun player to watch. He was tough. He could fight. And he could get into those dirty areas of the net and score goals. Much like Tim Kerr, Wayne Simmons had that same mentality. Wayne Simmons had a lot of heart. when he played for the Flyers. How can you forget when he scored a goal with his face? How can you forget Wayne Simmons, one of the best Philadelphia Flyers, one of my favorite Philadelphia Flyers? He had heart, he had determination, he had hustle, and he could get in front of the net and cause so much traffic and headaches for goaltenders. Wayne Simmons is truly one of my favorite Philadelphia Flyers. Wayne Simmons came to the Flyers in the 2011-2012 season, and he quickly impressed a lot of fans and a lot of people in the Flyers organization. Wayne Simmons was here in Philadelphia from 2011-2012, where he ended up his last and final season with the Philadelphia Flyers in the 2018-2019 season. Wayne Simmons went to teams like the Sabres. He also played for New Jersey Devils at one time. But Wayne Simmons will always be remembered as a guy that had heart. A leader on and off, leader in the locker room, and a kind soul off the ice. So number 3, Wayne Simmons. And number 2, a lot of people may not agree with this, but at number 2, there's a lot of people that will. So at number 2, Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux, what can I say? Claude Giroux. That year, Claude Giroux made his debut in the 2008-2009 season, where he scored his first National Athlete goal. He scored his first NHL goal against the Florida Panthers. In 2009-10, Claude Giroux really impressed. In the playoffs, he was dynamic. He showed a lot of hustle. He showed a lot of heart. Year after that, 2010-2011, Claude Giroux impressed again. In 2011-2012, in 2011-2012, Claude Giroux would have his best season with the Philadelphia Flyers. And in 21-22, Claude Giroux would officially be Claude Giroux's last season. In a game against the Nashville Predators in March of 2022, it would officially be Claude Giroux's last game as a Philadelphia Flyer, as he would be traded to the Florida Panthers in exchange for Owen Tippett. A game against the Predators, the Philadelphia Flyers got a victory, and Philadelphia and the Flyers and the Flyers faithful said goodbye to their beloved captain, Claude Giroux. But honestly, I always remember Claude Giroux. Sorry, I don't know. for his leadership, his tenacity, and his determination. I'll never forget Claude Giroux. This is my number 2 pick on this countdown. And I'm going to take a quick break. And I'll be back for my number 1 pick. Stay tuned. Okay, everybody. I am back. Sorry about that. I will tickle in my throat. But I'm back now and ready to go. Before I get to my number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Jaromir Jagr in Philadelphia as a Philadelphia Flyer. In 2011, 2012, in the 2011 offseason, the Flyers did something that nobody would expect. And during that offseason, the Philadelphia Flyers signed Hall of Famer Jaromir Jagr this year played for the Flyers in the 2011-2012 season. Jaromir Jagr dazzled the Flyers fans with his amazing skill and determination. It was truly a showcase. In Philadelphia, we got our taste of the Jaromir Jagr show. Another honorable mention would have to be another honorable mention would have to be I'm trying to think here. Another honorable mention, Peter Forsberg becomes a Philadelphia Flyer. Yes, many people may disagree with me on this pick here, but in a way, this was exciting for the city of Philadelphia. In the 2005 off-season, the Philadelphia Flyers officially signed Peter Forsberg to the Philadelphia Flyers. That year, Flyersguys made his debut as a Flyer. And Flyersguys, let me tell you, he was exciting to watch. Many people wanted to see Peter Forsberg, whether you were a Flyers fan or not. Peter Forsberg garnered a lot of admiration and respect from many hockey fans. Despite his injuries, this was really fun, having Peter Forsberg in Philadelphia. That's my other honorable mention. And my next honorable mention would have to be another honorable mention would have to be. Now I'm trying to think here. Okay, another honorable mention. I'm trying to think here. Another honorable mention would have to be Danny Briere making his signing with the Philadelphia Flyers. In the 2007 offseason, the Flyers the Flyers officially signed Danny Briere as a Philadelphia Flyer. Danny Briere was quite the underdog, but he proved a lot of people wrong. After having decent time with the Buffalo Sabres, Danny Briere officially parted ways with the Buffalo Sabres in 2007 and signed with the Philadelphia Flyers. Danny Briere captured the hearts of many Philadelphia Flyers fans. Despite his small size, Danny Briere was a fighter. Well, not literally a fighter. Danny Briere had a lot of heart, a lot of determination, and he was the type of player that would underestimate the opponents. Would underestimate. Danny Briere had some great seasons with the Flyers. 2009, 2010, great season. Great year for Briere. Briere would officially part ways with the Flyers. And sign with the Canadiens many years later. Danny Briere would officially retire, but he would retire as a Philadelphia Flyer. And that was my last honorable mention. And number one, I got 2 picks for my number 1 pick. Philadelphia Flyers back-to-back Stanley Cup wins in 1974 and 1975. In 1967, the Philadelphia Flyers officially became one of the first expansion teams. In 1967-68, Philadelphia Flyers had some humble beginnings, but the 70s is where that team shined. With a group of guys known as the Broad Street Bullies. In 1973-74 season, the Flyers captured their first Stanley Cup. In 1974-75, they captured their second Stanley Cup. In 1976, they tried to go for their third straight Stanley Cup, but were bested by the Montreal Canadiens. But those 2 seasons, 74 and 75, were some of the most memorable seasons. If you talk to most old school Philadelphia Flyers fans, they would tell you 73-74 and 74-75 were 2 of the best seasons the Philadelphia Flyers had. Now we get my next pick, and number 1 is 2010 Stanley Cup playoff run. In the 2009-2010 season, the Philadelphia Flyers had a pretty good start to the season, but the injuries started to pile up for the team. Many people counted the Flyers out. Many people thought this team was just a write-off. But late in the season, one game turned everything around for the Philadelphia Flyers. And that game was a game against the Rangers in April of 2010. After being beaten by the Rangers in the first part of the home and home, Flyers needed desperately to get this victory, to get into the playoffs. The tone was set on April 2010. The Philadelphia Flyers and the New York Rangers. Flyers were able to tie it up late in that game. Game went into overtime. And then the moment of truth, the shootout. In the shootout, Danny Briere got a goal. Claude Giroux got a goal. The Rangers got one. At one particular moment, Brian Boucher only needs to make one more save to get the Philadelphia Flyers into the postseason. It was Ole Yokerman coming right on in. Goes in and Boucher makes the save. Flyers get into the playoffs in the last game of the season. One of the most exciting ways to get into the playoffs. And that was one of the best seasons. Flyers had gotten into the playoffs. Their first opponent was the New Jersey Devils. Flyers beat the Devils in 5 games. Went on to the second round of the semifinals. Beat the Bruins, coming from behind, 3-0 to eliminate the Bruins from the Stanley Cup playoffs. Then they would face off against the Montreal Canadiens, defeating the Canadiens in 5 games to capture the 2010 Eastern Conference Championship. By the time the Flyers were Eastern Conference champions, it was in 97. And 2010 was the next. 2010, they got their second Eastern Conference championship in Flyers history. Their opponent in the Stanley Cup playoffs would be the Chicago Blackhawks, led by Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews. Flyers lost the first 2 games of that series. Came back to Philly and won Game 2 and Game 3. Game 3 and Game 4 to tie the series up. Then Chicago got a victory in Game 5 to take a 3 to lead in the series. And Game 6 the Flyers were able to force overtime. It would be the Chicago Blackhawks defeating the Philadelphia Flyers. Blackhawks became Stanley Cup champions that year. Although it was a heartbreaking end, you can't forget how amazing that run was. Despite being eliminated in the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Flyers gave everything they had during that run. And those are my number 1 picks. Flyers back-to-back Stanley Cup championships in 1974 and 1975, and the 2010 playoff run. Feels good to look back on the good old days sometimes. When you're going through hard times, it's always good to think back of the good old days, because those good old days, they inspire us. As a fan base, they inspire us And they help us say they help us hope for better days ahead. I'm Timmy Flyersguy, and this has been another countdown of Flyersguys Top 10. Guys, thank you for joining me here on this episode. I hope you all have a great week, and I'll see you guys next time. I don't really know what I'm going to do in the next episode. You're just going to have to find out next time here on the Flyersguys Top 10.